So much is happening around the world. We have like the U.S. elections just right um at the door. Like, how do you say that? Like, the U.S. elections are just here, like knocking at the door, and it's gonna be things are quite tense politically in America right now. I mean, United States is so divided politically and in every way, really, culturally, like gender wise. Everything feels so divided in the United States, and not just United States, like everywhere around the world. It's like so much of tension and uh, so much of disconnection, like divide. Yeah, people are very divided. Hey, we live in a very divided, and I don't know. The overall vibe of the world is feels like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just yeah, it's there. It's whatever, right? Yeah, and um, so this is like something that I'm passionate about. Like, I like to I like to wonder. Like, it sounds so corny, even when I say it. Like in my head, like it just felt so corny to me. But I just like to think about things. I guess then also it's also corny, man. But it's like I don't know. I mean, geez, I just like to think about things, and I don't find people in my life with whom I can share these like thoughts or whatever. Like, I will also listen to a few people who would have the similar kind of thoughts and whatever, right? But just, I don't know, like, I just feel like nobody's interested in wondering about stuff. Like, I mean, people, like, they are, I think there are people like that still, who want to who like want to wonder. Maybe, like, economically, people are um basically so trapped, I guess, that they don't have time to wonder or whatever. Like, maybe I'm this um privileged ass, let's say, who wants to um like wonder or whatever. Like, I I just don't know. But oh well, what can I say? So yeah, that's me. That's um just me, and I just feel like so I like editing and all that. Like, I mean, I've learned video editing and editing audio and everything. But I don't know. I just feel like if I'm not being raw, and if I'm not being raw and uncut and live. Like, for example, this is a live recording. This is the first time I'm doing a live recording in a while. So, for example, the last audio that I recorded, I did a podcast on relationships. So what I basically did in there, and in a lot of in a few of my previous videos, is that I do this freestyle flow of thought, a stream of consciousness type of podcast, where I just speak out my inner monologue live at the moment. So like, when I'm speaking this is my raw live, like, not raw, but my live. I'm creating this live raw. I'm not, like, I haven't prepared anything. This is my raw live flow of speech, and I think there's some kind of a value to that, like, if you prepare something, I get it. Like, people don't, like, I don't, the only fear I have is, like, I won't get views because we live in a time where people don't have time to listen. Like, nobody has the patience to listen to somebody or whatever. Not somebody. I'm saying, like, nobody has the that kind of a patience, I guess, to listen to some long form content where somebody is or a bunch of people is trying to go deep. For example, if let's say they made a movie like, let's say, The Godfather, or maybe that movie. What is that movie? Which they made in the 1960s about AI in the space, right? I'm just forgetting the name of the movie. Stanley Kubrick film. I just forgot the name. Damn. Space Odyssey, right? Space Odyssey. So that kind of a film, or the first Alien movie that was released, right? So those movies, if you watch them in 2024, let's say, you'll feel that those movies are kind of slow, right? Like, they're very slow. It's building up. The way I see it is those movies are like, they build up. They slowly build up a certain momentum. Like, there's no momentum really. In the initially, it's very slow, and you can call it boring, I guess. Too, like, like, if you look at the movie The Godfather, it's so slow, right? The movie is so slow. It's like, in the initially, like, nothing is happening for the first maybe 20 minutes. Like, it's happening, things are happening, but I'm not saying you will, definitely you will, but it's possible that you might find it slow. But well, compared to, let's say, some fast-paced action movies or whatever, some kind of, not even non-action, like some kind of a horror movie where, um, um, what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, building up stuff and this kind of raw internal communication, direct communication to the audience, like they used to do in the radio, in the when before the internet, people used to listen this kind of stuff on the radio, right? They used to turn their radio and tune into a particular station, and the person or a bunch of people, they would discuss something live and raw on a particular topic. But even like there's this podcast culture that exists today, but even in that culture, I feel like there's that. I mean, a lot of podcasts, which are especially not the the audio only podcasts, which don't have the videos, they kind of have that energy, the same energy, where they are basically showcasing the raw nature of the conversation, the kind of stuff that I'm trying to do right now. Um, and I just feel that there's a lot of value to that, like when somebody is, or yeah, when the host is, like the speaker or the podcast host is just speaking out raw thoughts. I think there's a lot, there's some, like, invaluable value to that. I mean, you can probably skip that stuff, but I don't know. There's some value to that, depth to that thing, right? And so what I used to do when my previous audios, like I was saying, I used to like press a record, and because I just believe in that, like, this is my style, so I just do the free flow of consciousness type of talk, and I just hit the record, but I have the pause button, right? So whenever I lose my flow, I just hit the pause button, and then I'll press the resume button again when I get back my flow. Sometimes you just lose your, like how they say, I just lost my train of thought here, right? Like how they say that. But like even in there, I just feel like it's kind of that little bit of inauthenticity that creeps in there. Um, if you can see what I'm trying to say here, like whenever I hit that pause button, like so what is that fear behind that action? So when I hit the pause button, why am I really doing it? Because I have this fear, constant that sub like that that fear that is running at the back of my head that oh, I have to be careful. People are gonna stop listening because they have so much content on the internet. They're gonna just click away from my content and move on to something else, right? So it's very difficult to hold people's attention these days, um, because like I'm saying, if if this kind of an let's say content or like maybe art form, I don't know, maybe it's that's too ambitious to call it an art form. Is podcast an art form? I don't know, like, but whatever. This kind of content, um like if I have to preserve and respect the authenticity of that kind of live, like imagine if this was a live video or a live radio station instead of a recorded podcast, a recorded and edited podcast. I mean, don't you feel that it's kind of like that authenticity of a recorded podcast is lost when it's edited, and versus when it's actually live, then it's better, right? I mean, it's just there's so much real. It just feels real and authentic, and you can fall asleep to it, right? I mean, you can just play it before going to bed, or maybe you're not able to fall asleep. You can just listen, like play it and keep it at the side of your head, and listen to this guy talk about stuff on the internet, right? I mean, that also works, I guess. So, like I was saying, like that, when uh, if you press the pause button on there, like as a feature, if you use that, I just feel that it's not really. Then it's not raw, right? Then it's edited because I'm editing it. Or when if I'm skipping the silent portions, for let's say in between the free flow of thoughts, there are moments of silence, right? Silences. And if I'm not honoring those silent moments, then I just feel that I'm doing some kind of I'm just creating or making something that's not 100% like authentic. I feel like I'm sacrificing a little bit of authenticity, and even that little bit makes me feel like it just dilutes the, or even it actually changes the whole content, because the moment I start editing my recording, that very moment, that raw, I won't be able to call it raw then, right? Because it's not raw anymore. It's edited. What's edited cannot be called raw, right? Because raw essentially, like the word itself just means that it's not edited. It's raw. It's live. So I just feel like there's some kind of value attached to this kind of work, I guess. So hold on, give me a second. Let me check if the recording is on. And yeah, it's on. So yeah. So like I was saying, like this value to that kind of work, um, and like so in the current state of the world, like if you like talk, like branch out from that point of the conversation, like if looking at the current state of the world, um what we observe is like